That is so slippery. This is the GWM Tank 300 and it's a rugged, off-road capable, body-on-frame family SUV that can seat 5 passengers. And this here is the best version yet, the 2.4 litre turbo diesel, and there has been some mechanical changes to this powertrain setup which I will dive into throughout the video. And now I'm going to talk about everything you need to know. And of course, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit that bell. Follow me on my socials and I've got plenty of reviews coming up. But for now, let's get straight into this one. Before walking into a showroom, what is there to know? Well, the Tank 300 competes with the Ford Everest, Isuzu MU-X and the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado 250 series. And there's the option between petrol hybrid and this diesel powertrain and 2 different model grades depending on the version you pick. There are also 5 different external colours to choose from. And in terms of ownership, warranty, servicing, running costs, everything you need to know has been listed on your screen. And let's now talk about styling. So you get this open air vent which surrounds the entire front section and the circular LED headlights, LED DRLs, this giant tank logo, plastic bumper bars, a recovery point, and in addition to this Ultra specification, additional steel underbody protection and a front differential lock. And moving on to the side view, this version sits on a set of 2-tone combination 18-inch wheels that are wrapped around in Michelin highway terrain tyres opposed to all terrains which are better for an off-road vehicle. You also get plastic body cladding across the side that integrates with the plastic side steps, black door handles, these narrow plastic wing mirrors, privacy glass from B-pillar to the back, black metal roof rails and a power sunroof which does open and close. Moving on to the rear design, at the back, full LED tail lights. You also get a spare wheel at the back with a gloss black cover, this plastic bumper bar setup, and a recovery point which is not rated. And finally, styling is subjective, so write down your feedback of what you think of the Tank 300. Let's now talk about the interior. So this presents really nicely for the money, but it also looks pretty similar to a Mercedes G-Class. For example, the twin screen layout, you have these air conditioning vents that feel pretty good but look identical to the ones found on a Mercedes. They also incorporate customizable ambient lighting that also extends onto the door panel. The build quality also feels pretty good. You get soft padding up the top here, silver speaker grills, quilted leather, and soft padding down the bottom here where you rest your elbow, and even on the center console. A grab handle like on a Mercedes, again, G63, but some plastic material down the bottom here on the glove box lid and looking lower down. The steering wheel doesn't feel that nice to grip onto, but it does offer both manual tilt and reach adjustment. These seats are also finished off in Napa leather, but they are fake leather. But you do get electric seat adjustment, seat heating, ventilation, and in addition to the driver, a heated steering wheel, seat memory function, lumbar support, and a massage function. And within this 12.3-inch touchscreen, the functions for the dual zone climate control, which also entails physical buttons down the bottom here, buttons on the steering wheel for media functions. And this is the main menu, so pretty straightforward. You can go into apps, car functions, smartphone integration, climate menu, and your inbuilt satellite navigation, which looks pretty crystal clear, plus voice recognition that works with Siri integration, and wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and that is what it looks like on the screen. And other key functions include AM, FM, DAB, Bluetooth, USB, USB video. And if I go into off-road mode, this will take you into a dedicated off-road screen, looking at tyre pressures, a compass, pitch and roll, and what is internally happening underneath. And down in the centre, this aviation style gear selector and the dial for the part-time four-wheel drive system to swap it from two-wheel drive high range for on-road driving, for H and 4 low for off-road driving. And there are also off-road specific drive modes, which I'll talk about when we go off-road. This button here is an off-road cruise control, and this button on the right hand side is your hill descent control, and this button here shortens your turning circle radius and of course your front and rear diff locks. And safety inclusions for on-road driving include a 360 camera with many different angles and views to pick from, and the picture quality is very clear and it is pretty impressive. There are also front and rear parking sensors and a rear cross traffic alert, a frameless auto-dimming rear vision mirror, a USB-A port for a dash cam, automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring with a safe exit warning assist, a lane departure warning and a lane keeping assistant where this car does have the ability to self-steer itself, adaptive cruise control down the bottom here which doesn't work that well, we'll find out when we go for a drive, and speed sign recognition along with a driver fatigue monitoring system. Now moving on to this 12.3 inch display, it is configurable in terms of menu layouts, but you can also change between mapping, driver assistance or this off-road specific screen. Connectivity is also pretty good. You get a wireless phone charging pad, USB-C and A port, a 12-volt socket. The glove box is pretty decent, and you've also got a decent center console that is air conditioned, this slidey section and two small cup holders. The door bins are also pretty good as they can hold a big water bottle. Over on the right side, this pop-out storage section and a little bit of storage underneath. Some visors with vanity mirrors, sunglasses holder, and this is an easy vehicle to climb in and out. You do get a remote key, but it is a bit annoying because you cannot clip it onto a key ring, but you do get keyless entry and push ignition down the bottom here. Here in the back with this seat set in my position, knee room, toe room, headroom is pretty good, and over in the middle seat, headroom is great as well, but knee room, toe room is a bit tight, but there isn't any intrusion with that transmission tunnel. But just keep in mind, if you are planning on using this as a family vehicle, the cabin does feel quite narrow, so fitting 3 adults might be a bit of a squeeze, and these seats are fixed into position, and there isn't a 7-seat option like what you do get on the Tank 500, Isuzu MU-X and the Ford Everest. But you can recline this seat backwards and forwards slightly, and you do have map pockets, directional air vents, 2 USB-A charging ports with a little bit of storage. There are also grab handles up the top here, LED lighting, and the door bins can just fit a large water bottle. Back here, a flip down armrest with 2 small cup holders, and for child seats, the 2 outboard seats are ISOFIX compatible, and right behind me, there are 3 top tether points. Let's now talk about boot space. Firstly, there's a side swinging tailgate, which is quite light to open and close, and you can also lock it into position to prevent it from closing onto you if you are parked up on a hill. But there are some limitations. For example, if you reverse park at a shopping centre, you do need a lot of space to open this up, and the entry point is quite high, so that might be a bit of a problem to some people. And the Tank 300 gets 400 litres of boot capacity, which does not sound like much, but the overall shape is nice and boxy. And if you do need more space, you can quite easily drop down the second row seats to give yourself over 1600 litres of boot volume. And around the boot floor section, tie-down points to keep items in place, along with shopping bag hooks, netted storage, and a 12-volt socket. And under here, the location for the spare toolkit, and you can connect those metal poles to this carpet floor mat to create a table. Before we go for a drive, let's check out the powertrain. You get a 2.4 litre, 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine, which develops 135 kilowatts, 480 Nm of torque, and it's all linked to a 9-speed auto and a part-time four-wheel drive system from the Canon XSR, the off-road enhanced version. And there has been some mechanical changes to this diesel version, items including larger front brakes, reinforced front knuckles, wheel bearings, and a stronger prop shaft. And as a result of all those upgrades, you have a better brake towing capacity of 3,000 kilograms opposed to 2,500 kilograms. 750 unbraked, and payload has also improved as well. And in terms of off-road driving, front and rear departure angles On your screen are all the key figures that you need to know, and we are going to go off-road, but first on-road driving impressions, and let's see how this performs going from 0 to 100. Okay, the driving impressions inside the diesel-powered Tank 300. Over that boxy bonnet, decent forward visibility, there's also good side vision. The wing mirrors are a bit narrow and rear vision isn't that great thanks to that rear tyre, but you do get a 360 camera that does look pretty impressive in terms of quality. Yes, of course, there are some limitations, this being a big ladder frame 4x4 vehicle, like for example body roll, and this not being as dynamic as an SUV. And I have said it before, this 2.4 litre diesel is amongst one of GWM's better powertrains that I have come across, and I have also driven a petrol powered Tank 300, and I've got to say this drives much better, and that is because GWM haven't just put in an engine, they have done some engineering changes to the brakes, suspension, wheel bearings and other vital components. The brake pedal feel is okay at low speeds, but when you do reach higher speeds you do get a bit of nosedive, which again for this type of vehicle is pretty common. The suspension is also pretty compliant. It is front nose heavy, but going over really bad bumps it is pretty comfortable, and yes, I think this is more refined comparing it to a D-Max or a Pajero Sport. Not Ford Everest class leading in terms of comfort, but pretty good. The road tyres don't make any noise, and yeah, a little bit of wind noise thanks to the shape, but nothing too bad. It is a pretty comfortable and cozy car to live with, especially on a long journey. The seats offer really good support. You do have under-thigh support, which is something you don't get on some of the GWM models. And I know this diesel powertrain is down on power compared to the petrol powered version. It is still pretty responsive when you put your foot down because you do have more low down torque, around 100 Newton meters of torque more, which is going to make this more suitable for off-road driving, towing. You also get a better payload figure, braked towing capacity. The gearbox reacts pretty well, and when you do put your foot down, a little bit of a delay. And yeah, the gearbox does take its time, but again, for the price point, it drives pretty well. And as I said before, this 2.4 litre diesel powertrain is amongst one of my favourite powertrains in a GWM vehicle. The driving aids are also less sensitive, so there hasn't been any beeps or bongs driving around, but the adaptive cruise control is still a little bit fiddly to engage, and it also doesn't keep you close enough. It keeps you very far back to the vehicle in front, and the lane keeping assistant, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but again, a much improved system compared to before. And what about fuel consumption? Well, the official number is 7.8 litres per 100. I've averaged on the freeway between 8.5 to 9 litres per 100, and driving around town you will average between 9 to 9.5 or maybe 10 if you are firm on the accelerator, but I don't think that is bad. It isn't as good as the petrol hybrid version, but much better comparing it to the petrol powered Tank 300. Okay, time for some off-road driving. I'm currently on an unsealed surface and it did rain, so there is a lot of mud and a lot of potholes on the road, but as you can see, this tackles really bad bumps on dirt roads really nicely. I am pretty surprised. One big letdown though, these all-terrain tyres. As you can see, their stopping ability was pretty poor. Like I said, we are on a muddy surface, but yeah, I don't know why GWM didn't add on a no-cost option, or even a cost option just to add on all-terrains, considering that you do get front and rear lockers on this top spec. So yes, let's put it into 4H and change the drive modes. Oh, you can only change the off-road drive modes in 4 low. Well, anyway, let's try 4H without any diff locks, without any off-road modes and see how far we go up this muddy hill. If it just had all terrains, I reckon it'll clear that nut. We're not doing anything. Too many revs, too many revs. It's hard to find the right balance. No, I stuffed that up. No, gotta go back. All right, let's try this again. There is literally no traction going down this hill, so I'm going to put it back into 4 low, engage hill descent control, because you can only engage hill descent in 4 low. And it's basically an off-road cruise control, and particularly for downhills, if you are in a situation such as this, it is going to keep you at a steady pace. And yeah, that is holding me nicely, and you've got a little gauge to keep you steady, and that is working well, much better compared to going down a slippery hill all by yourself. And with this drive mode, you can also engage this turn assist function, which will shorten your turning circle radius. So for example, I've got to do a full lock in the mud and it is going uphill slightly. Wasn't meant to do it that fast, but basically it spins you around at a tighter turning circle, making it easier for you to turn around in a situation such as this. And just a reminder, I've got it in 4-wheel drive low range. That is the mode that you need to be in if you want to use front and rear diff lock. So I've got the rear diff lock engaged. That is so slippery, but I made it. I think what let it down today are these tyres. You need all-terrain tyres because these tyres are so slippery. There is absolutely no traction. But apart from that, this is a very capable off-road car. The only downside I can think of, you can't put it into 4-wheel drive automatic, like in some of the more expensive rivals, but a very capable 4-wheel drive system, and just as capable as a $70,000 to $80,000 Toyota Hilux, Fortuner, MUX. So yes, a very capable car for not really a lot of money. And with my driving impressions out of the way, let's now wrap up with a verdict. So then, a final conclusion on the diesel-powered Tank 300. What doesn't it do so well? The driver assistance items such as the adaptive cruise control, the lane centering does need work, and it may not be the most practical family vehicle out there, but as an affordable off-road vehicle, it is very luxurious on the inside, and it does drive really well combined with all the upgrades to this diesel powertrain. But tell me what you think. Would you pick this over something else? And if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell. And if you want me to feature any other off-road vehicle, write down what you want down below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.